Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise?
What a perfect day to graduate a perfectly great class. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Pettit College of Law Commencement at Ohio Northern University. Today we honor the 2014 graduates and celebrate the 129th year of the college. Our invocation will be given by Kelly Pollock, a member of the graduating class. I would ask that you please remain standing following the invocation for the singing of the national anthem by Carmen Hamper, also a member of the graduating class.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to gather today with our friends, our family, and our classmates. We are thankful for the strength and courage you have provided us over these last 3 years, as well as the love and support of those who have helped us along the way. We give thanks for the constant wisdom, encouragement, and support of the ever hardworking faculty, staff, and administration here at Ohio Northern. We are also thankful for those who, although may not be present in this room today, are nonetheless with us in memory and in spirit. As we go from this place, we ask that you continue to guide and direct us. Lord, help us to be focused and disciplined this summer as we prepare for the next step in becoming attorneys. Let us realize that the past 3 years are merely the beginning of the journey. These countless hours of hard work have provided us with the knowledge and skills necessary to be strong leaders and to make an impact in any way we may desire. We ask that you help us to use these tools in a way that is both pleasing to you and helpful to others. As we celebrate this momentous achievement, allow us to be full of your love and compassion. Help us to remain humble and to use our talents and abilities for your glory. Finally, Father, we ask that you bless all who have gathered here on this most special day and provide safe passage as we go forth from here. In Jesus' name, amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Carmen, and thank you to the Symphonic Band under the outstanding direction of Dr. Charles Bates. We appreciate your music very much. Let's recognize them for what they did for us. Thank you. More than any other college event or program, the Law Commencement has both special and symbolic significance. We are here today to celebrate student success, applaud academic accomplishment, and confer upon our candidates the rights and responsibilities of attaining their professional degrees. Although our primary purpose is to pay tribute to the students who are graduating today, we also come together to recognize the collective efforts of so many: faculty, staff, parents, family, alumni, friends, and board members, all of whom played a vital role in our graduates' achievements. Ever since 1874, when the 11 members of the first graduating class received their degrees, the university community has gathered to celebrate and share in this time-honored campus tradition. Today, 106 members of the College of Law class of 2014 will soon be conferred with degrees and join more than 30,000 graduates of the entire university who have preceded them. As with past commencements, this one signifies both the fulfillment of Henry Solomon Lair's vision of the school that he founded in 1871 and the legacy of our faith-based heritage and long-standing affiliation with the United Methodist Church. And I am confident that the graduates of the class of 2014 have the opportunity for a bright future because they have received an excellent education from an outstanding faculty. Our faculty members are dedicated to their multiple roles as teachers, scholars, and mentors, and provide extraordinary service to our students by challenging them and supporting them. Our administrators and support staff also serve our students in important ways. At this time, with the college faculty, administrators, and support staff, please stand so that we can express our appreciation and recognize them. The faculty, please rise. Staff. Thank you. And it is now my pleasure to introduce the members of the platform party and to recognize others who play an important role in today's ceremony. As they are introduced, each will rise and remain standing, and I request that you hold your applause until all the introductions have been made. Mrs. Melanie Huff, University Registrar. Dr. Larry Lessick, Vice President of Enrollment Management. Dr. Adrian Thompson Bradshaw, Vice President for Student Affairs. Mr. William Ballard, Vice President for Financial Affairs. Dr. Catherine Albrecht, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. Dr. James Fenton, Dean of the College of Business Administration. Dr. Tom Kerr, Interim Dean of the College of Pharmacy. Mr. Ken Block, Vice President for University Advancement. Dr. Elena Helmer, Assistant Professor of Law and Assistant Director of the LLM program. Kelly Pollack, member of the graduating class. Mr. Rick Bales, Dean of the College of Law. Mr. Benjamin Braffman, Commencement Speaker and Honorary Degree recipient. Dr. David Crego, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. Mr. John Genovese, Honorary Degree recipient. Dr. Brian Ward, Professor of Law and Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. Andrew Drilling, Student Speaker. Dr. DeBoe Freed, President Emeritus. Dr. Jonathan Smalley, Professor of Civil Engineer and Grand Marshal. Dr. Harold Putt, Professor of Mathematics and Banner Bearer. Professor Owen Keller, Associate Professor of Athletic Training, University Marshall. And Dr. Michael Ryder, Professor of Mechanical Engineering and University Marshall. And Miss Tina Adams, our interpreter. Would you all please join me in recognizing these individuals? And it is now my pleasure to ask Dean Bales to introduce our commencement speaker.
Thank you, President DiBiasio. Brash, arrogant, ruthless. Three of the nicer words that I found on the internet to describe our speaker today. But let me add one that I think is even more important and one that comes across in any conversation that you have with him, and that is devoted. Devoted to family. He and his wife have 14 grandchildren, and you can't have a conversation with Ben Braffman without hearing the devotion to his family and the idea that it's so important to put your family first come forth. Devotion to faith. For Ben Braffman, faith is not just a label, it's an identity. He understands the idea of a faith-based community because he lives it every day. And his devotion to his faith is intense beyond description. I'd urge you, when you get a chance, to go to YouTube. YouTube his name in Auschwitz to see an incredibly moving tribute to his grandfather who was murdered at Auschwitz. Devoted to his law practice. This is a man who is devoted to his clients, but also to his employees, who he has referred to multiple times to me in conversation, not as employees, but as people at his firm who depend on him. He understands at a very deep level that he is not a solo, he is not an attorney who practices solo. He is an attorney who practices as part of a large team, and not just a team of attorneys, but a team of partners. And those are folks who depend on him. And to him, they are not just employees, they are members of his team, but people to whom he owes as much as they owe to him. Ben Brafman is someone who is devoted to others in a way that I haven't seen in very many other people anywhere. He's also probably the only white Jewish lawyer immortalized on a Jay-Z album. And I quote from Welcome to New York City, coverage on Center Street, got Brafman defending me, 'cause New York will miss me if I'm locked in a penitentiary. Please put your hands together for Ben Brafman.
Thank you very much, Dean. I've won about every professional award that you can win as a litigator, but my introduction when I get an honorary degree is I'm mentioned on a Jay-Z song, which is fine. Indeed, I was looking at the medallion worn by the president, and I thought, I know someone who would buy that for $100,000. So I am humbled and honored to be here. And after I left Ohio Northern University, and while an assistant district attorney in Manhattan, I got an LLM from NYU by going there at night. And fast forward 36 years, I was asked to give a keynote address by NYU several years ago at their alumni luncheon. And it was quite an honor. And the dean of the law school introduced me as the most successful, brilliant, competent, amazing trial lawyer in America. And when I got up to the podium, I said, this is somewhat ironic to be introduced as the greatest lawyer in America when 36 years ago, this school told me I wasn't smart enough to go here. I'm happy to be here, and it's been 40 years since I graduated in 1974. I mean, it's stunning to me that 40 years could pass so quickly. I mean, I'm a criminal defense lawyer. 3 times a week I try and tell people that the years will pass quickly. And they look at me like I'm crazy. And yet, 40 years ago, my wife and I both graduated from ONU, and she's still with me, and she's here today, Linda. And to the extent that someone could stay married to a trial lawyer for 43 years, she deserves a round of applause. I am walking proof that the legal education you have received at Ohio Northern University is comparable, if not better, than the legal education available at any other law school in the country. And I'm also proof that if you play by the rules, and if you pay your dues, and if you work really, really hard, and people sit up one day and take notice, that there are law students among you who may one day be introduced as one of the best lawyers of your generation. Today, ONU is housed in a magnificent law school. Well, Jim Heckbert and I, who is here today, he graduated first in our class, and he honors me by coming here today with his daughter Kimberly. We were in the old law school until the new law school was finished. Jim and I and our class carried all of the books that are in your law school by hand on a human conveyor belt, handing box after box of books until the transfer was made. So when you look at those books and you want to understand how they got there, Jim and Benny. Today, you have a first-class law review that's cited throughout the country. Our class started that law review. We had the inaugural edition of the Ohio Northern University Pettit College of Law Law Review. There was no law review when I came here. We went out and we made a law review. So to the extent that you are now involved in writing or publishing or reading a law review that is scholarly and well respected, it didn't just happen. People before you who took pride in this school insisted that a school of this quality needed to have a law review, and through Joe Banks and me and others, we got it done. Today, you have Lexis and Nexus. I bet you most of you haven't even opened the law book. We were the first class that ever had Lexis. But one thing has not changed between the old law school and the new law school. You still need to work hard to graduate law school. So I tip my hat to all of you who have made it. And now, you have to work hard to do well in the legal profession. There are no shortcuts. Let me say that again. So to the extent that I leave here today and you want to take away from my talk something that's easy to remember, pay your dues. There are no shortcuts. I didn't write this quote, and you know who did, but today we live in the best of times, but also the worst of times. Whatever your politics, whatever your background, you cannot help but read the paper and worry that perhaps the world is spinning out of control. I witnessed the planes hit the World Trade Center, the 9/11. I saw the buildings collapse. And I, at that moment, thought that the world was coming to an end, that I would never see my family again, that New York and the country would never recover, that we would never rebuild. But New York rebuilt, and the country has recovered, but we will never again be the same. Global terrorism will become part of our life, and has become part of our lives, and will, unfortunately, be so at least for the foreseeable future. But that doesn't mean it should keep you from attaining greatness, because you're also living in the best of times. In technology, in medicine, and law, the world has changed since I left here, but it's changed for the better. Today, there are no boundaries for students with your skills. There are no obstacles to those who are willing to work hard. Apply yourselves, and all of you can be superstars. You can do well. You can do great. That's up to you. Sometimes it appears too easy, because with the click of a button or the touching of a mouse, you can enter any domain. You can pursue any level of knowledge without leaving your home or your office or your class. The opportunities the class of 2014 has are breathtaking in scope, miles beyond those available to me and my class as we sat in these seats 40 years ago. So the opportunities are there, ladies and gentlemen, but so are the risks. Because today, we are one of the most regulated societies in the world. As lawyers, you are going to be relied upon to understand those regulations, to enforce them, to create even more regulations. And the trust you will have as you enter the legal profession can at times be overwhelming, but you do not have the luxury of becoming overwhelmed. As lawyers, you do not have the luxury of not knowing when your expertise is going to be relied upon by others. You need to know. You need to be right. The advice you will provide will impact on the quality of life that others will enjoy or fail to enjoy in the years ahead, those who come to you seeking assistance. When I speak at law schools, and some of the celebrity clients who I've had are mentioned, like Jay-Z or Puff Daddy or some of the big cases that I've had, are mentioned, like the defense of Dominic Strauss-Kahn or Plexico Burress, people say to me, is it fun to be Ben Brafman? Professionally, is it fun to be Ben Brafman? And I said, every couple of years, there's a couple of hours of fun surrounded by bone-crunching work, awesome responsibility, and sometimes extraordinary sadness. Plexico Burress was a brilliant football player. You've all read about his stupid case. He's a member of the New York Giants team, and he caught the winning catch in the Super Bowl. And you know what? It's the worst thing that happened to him. Because when you're famous and you screw up, it's a bigger deal. This great athlete carried a gun that was legal in Florida into a club in New York. It fell down his leg, and he shot himself. And his career was over. And he spent 2 years in jail because our mayor had just declared a new tough gun law in New York, and there was no discretion. It took me 8 months to get him a 2-year plea because the mandatory minimum was 3.5 years. So I did a great job. But I was there when I told him his career was over and he had to go to jail. And there wasn't a dry eye in the room, including me, because what I saw was great talent, great potential, and a moment of bad judgment. So that's the message I want to leave you. Today, because of the extraordinary technology you deal with, there's good news, and it's bad news. You can do good things and you can do bad things. You can create wonderful opportunities, but with the send button, you can end your career. And if you hit reply all, when you wanted to only hit reply, you could end your career. You could end somebody else's career. And whatever you put into a text or an email is forever. Let me say that again. Whatever you text to someone is forever. You cannot retain it. You cannot withdraw it. You cannot delete it. I've got computer forensic people I work with who will tell you and restore any email. You can throw your computer in the ocean, and I will get back the text you wish you had never sent. There's a great philosopher, Maimonides, once said, before you speak, think twice. Before you write something, speak 10 times. You don't know who is going to forward what you send, and your momentary genius when you're half drunk becomes terrifying reality when you read it the next day. Your future is very bright. Today you have a law degree from a first-rate law school, and don't let anybody tell you differently. You have the education to compete with any law school graduate in the country, but now it's up to you. Practice well. Remember and never lose sight of your ethical responsibility. Other people will entrust you with their lives, their estates, their businesses, their freedom. As lawyers, you will impact on the quality of life that hundreds and maybe thousands of people will enjoy if they become your clients in the years ahead. You must take that responsibility and treat it as a sacred trust. Be patient. Learn. Allow yourselves to be mentored. Be willing to pay your dues. There are no shortcuts. A few minutes ago, I was introduced as a respected and successful criminal defense lawyer. If that is true, you need to know it did not happen overnight, and it did not happen without sacrifice and effort. I graduated 40 years ago. I have worked at perfecting my craft for 40 years, and if today I have reached the top of my profession, I would like to believe that I have earned that spot honestly. There are a lot of lawyers I have met who are smarter and more talented than I am, but I have never met any lawyer who has worked as hard or harder than I have. So I leave Ada again later today for the second time, this time with an honorary degree from this great law school. I am humbled, I am deeply grateful, and I am honestly, truly honored. thank each of you. I thank the law school for thinking of me for this great honor. I hope that God blesses each of you with the life that allows you to reach your full potential so that you will make all of us proud. And if one day, many years from now, you are honored and up here delivering a commencement address to a law school class in the future, I hope you will say in part that you were inspired by that short Jewish lawyer from New York who told me that I could be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Braffman, for your words, your warmth, and your wisdom. We appreciate it, and we're so glad that you've come home to ONU. I'm proud to honor you. It is now my pleasure to introduce Andrew Drilling, who will speak on behalf of the graduating class. Andrew graduates today, number one, first in his class. He completed undergraduate studies at Canisius College and is from Buffalo, New York. Andrew.
Thank you. Good afternoon, distinguished faculty, proud family members, and most importantly, relieved fellow graduates. It's truly an honor to be speaking today. So we made it. We've gotten through 3 years of surviving everything that the faculty and life in general could throw at us. I know it wasn't easy, and sometimes I thought this day would never come. We survived federal income tax, we prepared appellate briefs, but most importantly, we learned how to rely on each other and work as a team. Despite all the challenges, here we are at the culmination of our law school careers, and we are better, albeit slightly more indebted people because of it. First off, I would like to take this opportunity to personally thank the entire graduating class for all the times you bailed me out of a bad situation in class. You know, where you get called on, blank and forget the answer, and pretend to flip through the pages in the textbook like you know where to look. And then someone volunteers the answer, rescuing you from certain embarrassment. Now that's the kind of teamwork I'm talking about. We've been through a lot as a class over the past 3 years. 1L year was a new experience, and we learned how to think and sometimes act like lawyers. We arrived at law school excited and nervous, but most importantly, committed. Orientation and the SBA barbecue, where most of us met for the first time, seems like it could have been just days ago. Little did I know that after making my first trip to the Beagle at night, I would be forming friendships that will last a lifetime. These relationships could very well be the most important benefit we take away from this law school experience. With 1L year came new challenges and obstacles. We read thousands of pages and hundreds of cases on a variety of topics. We learned about hairy hands, fertile octogenarians, and of course, who owns Blackacre. We learned how to brief a case and prepare for the never-ending stream of questions from professors that inevitably followed on a daily basis. Somehow, we were able to condense all this into an outline, which we then used to study for grueling 3-hour exams. The last 2 years were also challenging and involved lots of hard work. 2L year was less of a mystery, and we began to flourish as novice attorneys. Between attempting to demystify the Dormant Commerce Clause and the rule against hearsay, with all its exceptions, we found time to accomplish much as a class. Some of us joined law review and spent copious amounts of time italicizing periods, searching for non-existent sources, and then unitalicizing periods. Others joined moot court, wrote briefs, and traveled across the country to compete in oral advocacy competitions, and won. Still others went on to clerk for state and federal judges, intern at firms across the country, and dedicate hundreds of hours to the ONU Legal Clinic or other pro bono work. These are just a few examples of things we have done while we were in law school. I'm certain that we will do even more after graduation. As lawyers, I know we will have a positive impact on the world. What I'm trying to say is, I'm proud to be graduating as a member of such a distinguished class. I have to admit, law school was not all some crazy stress-filled nightmare, as I may have made it seem. I've had the privilege of watching my classmates rise to the occasion and overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles and achieve great accomplishments. When I look at my fellow classmates, I see not only future partners, judges, and legislators, but also friends and colleagues, people with whom I've shared the most trying, but also most rewarding 3 years of my life. So thank you, class of 2014, for making our law school experience as pleasurable and inspiring as it could have been. I learned a lot from all of you. I can only hope to be as good of an attorney as a fraction of you will be. Well, I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is that never again will you find yourself staying up all night the week before an exam to pound out an outline because you just realized your professors changed books from the previous year and the outline you received from an upperclassman is now useless. Never again will you have to sit through a grueling 2 weeks filled with 3-hour exams. And never again will you find yourself in the exhilarating position of being called on at 9 in the morning and being asked to recite the elements of some obscure cause of action. The bad news is, of course, that if you're still planning on being an attorney after the wonderful experience of law school, none of the aforementioned good news applies to you. Bar review classes start in a week, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of last-minute outlining to do. Yes, we will eventually have to take and pass the bar exam, which I hear is slightly more difficult than a law school exam. And, as lawyers, we will never be able to escape the onslaught of questions from stern judges, excited partners, and anxious clients. I'm not going to talk about the great responsibility that is placed on us as soon-to-be lawyers. We all had to sit through a semester of professional responsibility, and I'm confident that the class of 2014 will display the ethical attributes required of every attorney. What I do want to talk about is opportunity. As everyone knows, many problems plague today's society, including environmental, political, human rights, and international justice issues. After graduating from law school, we will have the power and tools necessary to make a difference, just as some of us already began to do with our time here at ONU. Law school gave us many things: headaches, gray hairs, a crippling caffeine addiction, but most importantly, it gave us the opportunity to be a catalyst for change. We would not be here without the faculty and staff here at ONU. The role as mentors and teachers gave us the tools necessary to accomplish our goals, both in the classroom and in life. On behalf of the class of 2014, I would like to sincerely thank you all. Last, and most importantly, thank you to all the family, friends, and significant others for their help and support over the last 3 years. Law school is a trying time, and there's no doubt we would not be standing here today without your encouragement, love, and support. We struggled together, we grew together, and now we graduate together. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2014.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for sounding that wonderful theme of opportunity, and congratulations again for your outstanding academic achievement. Will Provost Crego, Dean Bales, and Mr. Benjamin Braffman please join me at the podium for the conferral of the honorary degree. Benjamin Braffman, you are one of the best trial lawyers in America. As the principal of Braffman and Associates in Manhattan, you have achieved renown in the defense of celebrities, business leaders, lawyers, and other professionals in high-profile criminal and civil fraud cases throughout the United States. As a law student at Ohio Northern University, you helped found our law review in 1973. You were named manuscript editor and earned your degree with distinction in 1974. You returned to your home city, New York City, to practice criminal law. You served for a time as an assistant district attorney for New York County before entering private practice in 1980. In that practice, you have ably defended persons accused of crimes in cases that have riveted the nation. To give just a few examples, your clients have included such well-known figures as Dominique Strauss-Kahn, Sean Combs, Plaxico Burress, Michael Jackson, Melvin White, and Dinesh D'Souza. New York Magazine has called you the best criminal defense lawyer in New York. The New York Council of Defense Lawyers has bestowed upon you the Norman Ostro Award for Outstanding Achievement in the field of white-collar criminal defense. The New York State Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers presented you with its first Clarence Darrow Award for Distinguished Practitioner. You are a fellow in the American College of Trial Lawyers and a sought-after speaker and commentator on American criminal law. We deeply appreciate the support you have given over the years to the Pettit College of Law, to our Cardozo Legal Society, and to our Law Review. Therefore, upon the recommendation of the Ohio Northern University faculty and by the authority vested in me from the state of Ohio and the university's Board of Trustees, I am delighted to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, Dr. Braffman. Will Provost Craigo, Dean Bales, and Mr. John Genovese please join me at the podium for the conferral of the honorary degree. John Genovese. Judges, attorneys, business leaders, and legal educators have recognized you as one of the nation's leading lawyers in complex insolvencies and corporate reorganizations. We are proud that you began your legal career at Ohio Northern University, where you were elected Vice President of the Student Bar Association, recognized as Best Oral Advocate as a member of our national moot court team, and earned your law degree with distinction. Following your graduation, you became a member of the Florida Bar and clerked for United States District Court Judge Norman Retger. In the years that followed, you developed an expertise in bankruptcy and criminal litigation that you brought to your own firm in 1999. That firm, now known as Genovese, Joblove, and Batista, has offices today in Miami and Fort Lauderdale and an affiliate in Caracas, Venezuela. As head of your firm's reorganization and insolvency practice, you acted as co-counsel for the shareholders and the note holders in Enron's reorganization proceeding. That representation resulted in settlements exceeding $7.2 billion, the largest class action recovery ever. You have also counseled the lead plaintiff in the countrywide securities class action and obtained the most significant settlement to date, arising from the mortgage crisis. You are a frequent lecturer and author on bankruptcy and creditors' rights. You have served on the Florida Federal Judiciary Nominating Commission for the United States Senators Bill Nelson and Mel Martinez, and you have been active in numerous professional and community organizations in South Florida. At Ohio Northern University, we are particularly grateful to you for your many contributions to our law program. Since 2010, you have served on the College of Law Alumni Association Board of Directors. You've returned to campus on numerous occasions to deliver public lectures, to speak to law classes, and to counsel students in our Law Alumni Mentor Program. For these reasons, upon the recommendation of the Ohio Northern University faculty and by the authority vested in me from the state of Ohio and the university's Board of Trustees, I am delighted to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, Dr. Genovese. And Dean Bales will now provide comments to the graduating class.
Thank you, President DiBiasio. The commencement process for the College of Law includes a distinctive hooding ceremony. We present academic hoods at commencement because the hood bears important symbolic meaning. In the Middle Ages, the hood kept scholars warm in drafty universities. Today, fortunately, ONU is heated. And apart from making you look like a Harry Potter character, the academic hood signifies the level of the degree, the academic discipline in which the degree was earned, and the institution that awarded the degree. The academic level of the degree is shown by the length of the hood, 4 feet for the doctor's hood, which also has the widest velvet trim. The color of the trim identifies the academic discipline, the royal purple for law. The hood is lined with the colors of the institution that awards the degree, thus the orange. Over the last year that I've had the privilege of being your dean, I've learned a few things. For example, I've learned that what happens in Cambodia stays in Cambodia. I've learned that Steve Veltri was a much better interim dean than he gives himself credit for, that he is the professor who alumni hated and feared while they were here, but revere now that they are in practice, and that his tough-as-nails demeanor masks the fact that other than your mother, there's probably no one else in this world who cares more about you and your future than Dean Veltri does. I've learned that I never want to do an oral argument in front of Joanne Brandt. I've learned that I never want to be on the wrong side of the line of scrimmage in a flag football game with Laura Del Antonio. I've learned that Kevin Hill's door is always open to anyone, anytime. I've learned that it's Celebrezzi, not Calabrese, that it's Omerlin, not Omelin, and that it's Petit, not Petite. I've learned that if you really want to know who runs the law school, come into the dean's office and take the first door on your right after the candy machine. I've learned that our junior faculty are our future. I've learned that Brian Ward has a sense of humor drier than Texas sand, that John Martin is irreplaceable and will be very sorely missed, that everyone loves Harry. And finally, I've learned that our LLM students, every one of them, are heroes. I've also been reminded over the last year, over and over again, how extraordinarily lucky we all are to be gathered here under these circumstances. You'll recall that the people who founded the United States and wrote our Constitution were mostly lawyers. They risked their lives. They were the terrorists of their day, standing up to a dominant superpower to create a system of government in which people are ruled by laws rather than by the whims of kings. As you look around the world today, you'll see that it's usually lawyers who are leading that same fight. Lawyers in Turkey risking their lives to ensure that protesters against an autocratic government aren't jailed and the keys thrown away. Lawyers in Ukraine trying to wrest political control from kleptocrats, trying to build a new democratic government. Lawyers all over the world risking their lives to ask for basic human rights. Today, you become a member of this proud profession. By becoming a member, you take on an awesome responsibility, the responsibility of standing up to power. You may not be called to march in the streets against an autocratic government, but I guarantee you will be tested. Maybe you'll be a criminal defense attorney with an extremely unpopular client up against the awesome power of the state, and you'll be called on to ensure that your client receives a fair trial despite the public relations lynch mob waiting outside the door. Maybe you'll discover that a powerful corporate client is breaking the law and putting other people in danger, and you will be called on to blow the whistle, even if it means losing your job, your livelihood, and perhaps even your professional reputation. Maybe you'll receive information about an upcoming deal, and you'll know that you can use that information to make yourselves rich beyond your wildest imagination, and you will be called on to resist that temptation. Much like becoming a priest or a minister or a rabbi or an imam, we are called to do the greater good, the higher good, even, especially when it means going against our self-interests. That's why we are a profession and not just an occupation. And it's why you should be proud from now on to call yourself a lawyer. Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Dean Bales. We will now present hoods, confer degrees, and award diplomas to the graduating class. Provost Craigo, will you please commence the conferral of the academic degrees?
President DiBiasio, I have the honor of calling Dr. Elena Helmer to the podium for the privilege of presenting the candidates for the Master of Laws degree.
Will the candidates for the Master of Laws please stand? President DiBiasio, as Assistant Director of the LLM program of the Claude W. Pettit College of Law of Ohio Northern University, it is a privilege to present these candidates for the degree of Master of Laws.
Thank you, Dr. Helmer. Upon the approval of the faculty and by the authority vested in me from the state of Ohio and the university's Board of Trustees, I am pleased to confer upon each of you the degree Master of Laws with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Ishtiaq Ahmed. Oyesanmi Frederick Alonge. Sundus Barakzai. John Michael Buchenik. Camila Turquia Gomez. Carmen Marie Hamper. Christopher P. Hill. Courtney Lee Kinter. Nabila Moradi. Serge Bahati Mweze. Mahmoud Nawaz. Waleke Ndovi. Esmarai Osmani. Tamara Ruhadze. Wahid Siddiqui. Twana Mohammed Smail. Zakar Hussein Sultani. Victoria Todria. Domsiana Jacqueline Ware.
President DiBiasio, I have the honor of calling Dr. Brian Ward to the podium for the privilege of presenting the candidates for the Juris Doctor degree.
Will the candidates for the Juris Doctor please stand? President DiBiasio, as Associate Dean of the Pettit College of Law of Ohio Northern University, it is a privilege to present these candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Ward. Upon the approval of the faculty and by the authority vested in me from the state of Ohio and the university's Board of Trustees, I am pleased to confer upon each of you the degree of Juris Doctor with all of the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
The Ohio Northern University Recognition Medal recognizes outstanding academic achievement. A medal and a certificate are presented to each of the highest-ranking graduates in each college who are present at commencement. It is my privilege to indicate that an Ohio Northern Recognition Medal and certificate will now be presented to Andrew David Drilling, magna cum laude, as the highest-ranking graduate in the College of Law. Oyasanmi Frederick Olunge, cum laude. Justine Leanne Anderson. Henry Mark Apostle. Hannah Devon Armentrout, magna cum laude. Ian Becker Bangachon. Joshua Joseph Bauman, magna cum laude. Andrew Bruce Benchick. Paul Strubreiter Billingsley. Chelsea Marie Bone. Stacy Boyer. John Michael Bushenik. Rosby Moore Carr III, magna cum laude. Andrew Cole Catherman. Joseph Spencer Center, cum laude. Ian Thomas Childs. James Scott Coates. Sarah Elizabeth Coffin, cum laude. Lauren Carol Colby. Charles Jason Collins. Rebecca Christine Kronauer, cum laude. Michael Joseph David. Zach Gregory Davis Farrell. Anthony Michael DiPietro. Kevin Cunningham Donahoe, cum laude. Amy Lynn Drought. Thomas Andrew John Duffy. Tanny L. Iyer. Travis Jordan Faber. The class of 2014 asks all gathered here today to pause for a moment of silence to remember their classmate, Shamari Foster. Cynthia Janine Faust. Carmen Marie Hamper, magna cum laude. Michael Edward Hamper III, cum laude. Andrew Charles Harvin. Christopher P. Hill, cum laude. Ryan James Hoover, cum laude. Justin J. Colley, cum laude. Robert Joseph Kidd, cum laude. Kayla Christine Kiesik. Lawrence Lewis King, cum laude. Courtney Lee Kinter. Nicholas Martin Neville. David James Lampert. Marissa Renee Lawhon, magna cum laude. Sean Limentowski. Justin Michael McCannon. Tamara Jane Mahady. Richard L. Manila. Nicole Ray McDonald. Joshua Scott Michael. Mary Abigail Miller, magna cum laude. Jennifer Marie Moore. Christopher Todd Mosley, cum laude. Victor Gregory Myers. Morgan Taylor Newhoff. Asia Danielle Newman. Stephen Patrick Nevius, cum laude. Ariel M. Ola, magna cum laude. Kelly Renee Pollock. David Calvin Pricer. Andrew Daniel Pugsley, magna cum laude. Jason Ross Ramsey, cum laude. Jason Eric Ray. Bethany Noel Renner. Robert Jordan Richardson. Casey Deborah Robbins. Murray R. Rogers. Ryan Cole Rokiski. Melanie Sarah Rowland. Nina Marie Salazar. Tanya Heidi Schmid. Tessa Ray Scott. Timothy David Scott. Ronald James Sievert, Jr. Melissa Renee Sherrick. Sarah Lynn Shovak, magna cum laude. Lillian Rose Shunn, cum laude. Abigail Kathleen Sills, cum laude. Brett Andrew Smith. Megan Ashley Spellman. Mark Tawfik. Jared Nathaniel Underberg. Holly Nicole Urbanik, cum laude. Michael Philip Walton. Daniel Timothy Welch. Ethan Allen Welch. Jason James White. Richard Leo White III. Ryan Bennett Chappelle Wincott. Laura K. Wood. William R. Workman, cum laude. Carly Ann Zilke, cum laude.
To members of the graduating class, I want to join with everyone here to acknowledge your accomplishments and recognize all that you have done to reach today's milestone. You graduate at a time of great challenge in our nation and throughout the world. Challenges such as energy and healthcare and international peace and stability are all pervasive. Today, to meet those challenges and other challenges of our time, you will do what lawyers have always done: serve their clients, their communities, their nation, and the world in so many important ways, and everywhere there are problems to solve. We are counting on you to make a positive difference, so we encourage you to rise to those challenges. to be ambitious, to take chances, and to make the world a better and safer and more just place. Today, you make us proud. You make your families proud, but most important, you make yourselves proud. Will the class of 2014 please stand? And ladies and gentlemen, let us recognize the graduating class of 2014. And while we most certainly honor the graduates today, we also want to recognize the love and support provided by their parents, grandparents, wives, husbands, and other family members. So will the families of all the graduating students please stand so that we can recognize you in your important role. Families, please rise and let us recognize you. A musical benediction will be given by Ms. Deanna Sira, a member of the College of Law staff, followed by a spoken benediction by Mr. Jason Ramsey, a member of the graduating class.
Benediction means to speak well in Latin, a language to which we have all grown a little too familiar over the past 3 years. I ask that we bow our heads and take this time to reflect and speak well about our shared experiences at Ohio Northern. Let us speak well and be thankful for all those who enabled us to be here today. Our parents, our family, mentors, and friends, many of whom are joining us here today. Without their guidance, their endless support, and their love, we simply would not be sitting here. May we also be thankful for and indebted to the remarkable faculty, staff, and administration at Ohio Northern for our legal education. To the faculty in particular, we apologize for bombarding you with questions during the first year, being a little bit of overachievers the second year, and procrastinating on you during the third year. To my fellow graduates, as our questions go from what sort of delivery pizza do we want in Ada, or whether we're going to go to the Beagle or J&T's, to more important ones about how to best serve our clients, our communities, and our families, May we have the wisdom and the humility to provide advice, counsel, and justice to and for others. And last, as we all go on our separate ways to small towns or large cities, to county seats or even overseas, let's make sure we always take a moment, no matter how small, to fondly remember our time here. Remember to revel in your accomplishments, learn from your mistakes, and always strive to improve yourselves and your surroundings. The end of our law school careers is only the beginning of our legal careers. As we begin the rest of our lives, let us speak well of our shared sacrifices, accomplishments, and our collective journey here. Thank you.
is to put the music in the folders and bring the folders right down here. If you would do that,